Alright, everybody. I bought an Xbox One S, the Xbox One Slim, and I gotta tell you something I and several other people have experienced after exposure to this device and its controller after playing for a few hours. Now, it didn't hit me the day I purchased this when these symptoms started coming on after a few hours of playing. It didn't actually hit me probably till 2 or 3 days ago that my numbness in my fingers and my arm was related to this actual device. While you're going to say, no, how can that be? You're going to actually come to a conclusion that, stiff joints are, relatively common due to not moving around, your neck goes stiff, long list of other things. But as I did some research, ladies and gentlemen, I found out that since the development of the Xbox 360, there's been a lot of sightings of numbness, tingling, aching, throbbing in various parts of the body from the exposure of these devices. And the Xbox One Slim and the Xbox One thereof is absolutely no different, and I have never, ever experienced this in my life. This was at a point where I was worried that there was something that needed to be medically taken care of. I will go into the details in 1 second as soon as I show you some of the figures here. I want to go over where on my person, it happened to be my arm, that my numbness and my tingling happened to be. Irradiated out of these two fingers and went all the way down to the crease of my arm. For a little while I thought maybe I was having a stroke. And while you're going to say that that doesn't necessarily mean that, that's from the video game. Well, yes, it is. I went ahead and searched Xbox One S reporting tingling and numbness, and I found several things. 5 reasons why the Xbox One is worse than the original. The Inquirer talks about numb thumbs in the Xbox One S. Okay, might be coincidental. If you play too long, things are going to go numb. We understand that. But ladies and gentlemen, I've been playing video games all of my life. I've never experienced this kind of paralysis. This is coming from the Xbox 360 wireless controller download, and it specifically states that tingling, numbness, burning can be health issues. Also here, HealthyGamingGuide, Safe Gaming Xbox Live from the top. It says throbbing, aching, tingling, numbness, burning. So let me show you that real quick. I know people with the Xbox One, and they have yet to experience this. I've known several people who have played my very own Xbox, and they, within a few hours of playing, are experiencing numbness in their arm, inability to move it, inability to coordinate their fingers and their arms. This could just be some kind of situation with the frequency or something more serious, but this is a big deal, and I have never in my life experienced this problem with a video game system. And so I want to be very clear that this is a big deal. This is exactly where I experienced the numbness, from these two fingers basically back to my elbow, and within a few hours the numbness and tingling have gone away, but I'll be honest, it's still kind of there, and I'm worried about nerve damage. If it doesn't go away all the way, I'll have to go see somebody about it. But, limit your exposure to this, because this is happening. I've known several people to report this. My nephew, who's 12, started playing a couple hours later, He was moving his arm kind of funny. I said, "What's wrong?" He says, "My arm fell asleep." I said, "All right, fine, your arm fell asleep." And then he kind of walked around for a little while, and he says, "My arm is actually," and I said, "numb." He said, "Yeah, why?" I said, "I don't know. There's been one or two other people, and it's always kind of been the right arm. And for them, if they get away from it and don't have long exposure to it, nothing happens. My fingertips are kind of still a little bit numb, kind of still tingly, and I'll try to get away from playing this for a while to see if it goes away entirely or if I need to go seek medical professional help. And if I do, then I will definitely be contacting an attorney, because this is the first time I've ever had a gaming device where I can't play it several hours in a row and not have some kind of weird effects. And it has been numbness, tingling, and aching, but I haven't had the throbbing, burning, or others. And it was in my fingers, and in my hand, and in my right arm. And for everyone else, it seemed to be their right arm as well. You're going to always have, if you're sitting too long, your legs are going to go numb, etc. This is the first time I've actually experienced partial paralysis, if you will, in my actual body. This is what I experienced. My fingers went numb. They actually kind of curled over where they were dangling to some degree. Maybe not dangling, but I had very little coordination with them. My arms started to go numb. This was actually quite bad. Almost sounds like it's a partial seizure or a stroke of some kind, so maybe prolonged efforts to the screen causes this to happen, along with the frequency and everything of the controller. I don't know, but I looked into it. There are reasons to suspect that this device and its controller are linked to these health risks. So if you're going to play for a couple minutes, stop, see if it happens to you, because this has happened to me. It's happened to my 12-year-old nephew. It's happened to one or two other people we know that have been playing my very own device, and this is actually true. I'm trying to limit my exposure to it to see if there's a 30-minute rule or an hour rule that'll work. I'm not aware that it happens all of the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been playing video games since I've been little. This sort of thing never happens. Yet it happened on this device here. And as I showed you here, as soon as I switch, they have this here. It talks about Xbox Live, Xbox One, having throbbing, aching, tingling, numbness, burning as a health concern. Xbox One S, numb thumbs for the Xbox One. And if you go here, this one here talks about the Xbox 360 controller, where there was tingling, numbness, burning. So there's a lot of health reasons that exist, and it seems to be multiplied in the Xbox One S for some reason. I don't know a lot of people that are just not experiencing this, but I experienced it. My 12-year-old nephew experienced it. 2 or 3 other people, like I said, have experienced certain similar symptoms, and usually if they got away fast enough, it was fine. But for me, tips of my fingers are still tingling a little bit. And this is what's really going on in the real world, folks. I'm trying to show up my video real quick. So anyways, my 2 fingers here, my ring and my pinky, had numbness and tingling all the way down my arm, probably about a third of the way, a third to a fifth, if you will. And this is what really happened. And I basically started playing, and this is what happened a couple hours after playing. And I noticed that this was the situation only about 2 or 3 days later, and I stopped playing. So thank you.